Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Ed. Today I'm going to be talking about a quick update on IDEX. Make sure to watch my previous DD onto this one in the description below. And I did call for this bit of a jump, so this one here I do have a little bit more good news. Before we move forward, make sure you drop a like down in the video to make this channel grow. Subscribe, turn notifications on to get the latest out of my videos. So without further ado, we're going to go through technical analysis and then an update on news and then earnings. So quick thing, first things first. One of the things that really come in outlined here to me is the MACD, where it has been negative for quite a little, and I did say before that I do see it by the end of the week to turning positive. And over here we get to see that the MACD is actually testing in the positive region, getting very, very close to it. And Monday would actually confirm whether we get that positive reversal or it still continues on trading in closer to there. Once that kind of reversal gets on there, you might actually see a little bit of an upside on it. So other thing here we're getting is that the stock price is still above the 200 SMA, very bullish. The stock price is still above the 50 SMA, so that's as well bullish. Now the 30 EMA is above the 10 SMA, although it's getting in really close between one another, and that can flip in any second, especially since the stock price is above both of them. The average directional index indicates that there is a possibility of a trend forming. Once it crosses 25, that shows in a very strong indication that a trend might be forming. Right now it's very close to there. William %R puts the stock a little bit closer towards the overbought situation, a lot more closer to overbought than neutral, although we've seen it before where it still continued to jump around there. Now moving on towards the 1 hour perspective, we get to see the MACD is actually curling upwards. Now it did go negative a little bit. Well, it didn't drop down from the 0.5 mark, so it held that really nicely. And then it's actually MACD is actually curling upwards, indicating that there is a possibility for it to go towards the positive side. Average directional index sitting in closer around 30 shows an indication that there is a confirms that indication that there's a possibility of a trend forming. William %R puts it most of the day around neutral. In the last 10 minutes or so, it went up, shot up to overbought, but that's a really nice indication going in, saying that people, even through a Friday red day and then a Friday sell-off, that they still have a high potential for this one here, and they want to jump on it before they miss out. So the FOMO starts to kick in here. Price is above the VWAP on the 1 hour per scale. Price 10 SMA is above the 30 EMA, which is amazing. And by the way, the trading action zone between the 10 SMA, the green line, and the red line is where reversals are likely. So we might see a reversal there if it dips just a little bit below. 50 SMA and the 200 SMA are really close, and it did reach a golden star as well. So that's bullish. Let's move on to moving averages, and what we get to see here in terms of the moving averages is that the stock price is trading within there. The moving average band is actually stabilizing, and the unbalanced volume is increasing. So that looks alright. It's still a little bit above on the moving average band, but I expect that moving average band, instead of it was dropping, now it's stabilizing, and it might actually curl back upwards. Now going on towards supports and resistances from the last month or so. So there is a support sitting in at 144. There is another one around additional support sitting in very close to around the 150 mark. I believe it's somewhere 150 right here. It's currently, sorry, a resistance. And then there is a current resistance after that on Fibonacci retracement around 153, and then following that is around 156, and then following that is 158, and then following that is around 161, and then 168, Fibonacci retracement 173. Now in terms of supports, we're looking at a support around 147, somewhere around here, and over there, and over here, and then 145. And then we're looking at Fibonacci support 144. So 144, 145 is the same. And then we're looking somewhere around the 141 mark. And then 139. And then we're looking at Fibonacci support 133. And then 1.3. And then we're looking as well after that at 1.25. And then hitting in 1.2. Yep. So trend lines now. Let's try to see if there's any trend lines that are significant. Heads and shoulder here perhaps dropped a little, but then it's accumulating, and it's accumulated and then moving upwards. Let's try to look in terms of this trend line here. Could it be perhaps something like, well, it looks like it might be actually wedging in. Very little movement, very little in terms of time in order to draw that. So let's try to look in terms of here. There is a possibility there happening. Okay, so let's try to look into perhaps the 3 months 1 day and try to identify if there's any trend over there. For this look here, it actually looks really good. Why? It's because it's actually accumulating at this point. And here's the good news is that there is earnings that is confirmed after market for Q2 on 11th of August. With a company with this much hype behind it, with a lot of people in it, I expect the stock to jump a lot closer to perhaps this week, next week, closer to the 11th. That is very much likely. The 11th, although, is going to be a Tuesday, so might not be this week. Might be that you might see a little bit of an increase in price, and then on Monday you actually see that jump. Make sure as well to stay in this video just for a quick second to show you how to trade it. Now, before moving forward, transitional, no recent news coming in other than the Chinese EV industry really rallying up, and there's a lot of support and capital raised on there, so that's interesting. The stock has 77,000 in the Vanguard Russell 2000 Growth Index Fund institutional shares, and it has around 2,000 in the small mid-cap equity fund. Costello Asset Management as well bought some shares. There's some recent buy-ins in shares rather than dumping, so that must be good news. Some other companies are actually interested in it, and you get to see on July there's a good amount of transactions, a lot more than what we've seen before, although this company has repetitively seen a lot of interest from institutions. So that's definitely a good sign for me. Now, moving on forward on how I would trade this stock. So moving on, I definitely want to see how it trades on Monday. Once it crosses that positive MACD, on the 1 hour, on the 1 day scale, I'll definitely consider buying it. Next thing I want to see is if it holds that support we talked about. If it does hold that support, it tests it. The current big support that I can get to see is the 1.2 mark. I hope it doesn't go down there, but if it does, I'm definitely scooping some, because definitely that looks like it's a bargain at that price. It's a triple bottom that got created here. Multiple bottoms really shows the strength where the supports, breaking that support gets rejected and gets bounced off, and that looks like it's a really nice one. So Ed, why is it not actually crossing over there? So a lot of potential here that is happening is that people different traders use this as a money printer. That's what I call it. Buying a 1.2, selling a 1.52, and do it a few times over to start manipulating the stock. So that's a little bit dangerous, but you need a lot of momentum, a lot of volume to break that trend and, get them to give up on the stock. Now, the only bad thing is once you break that trend and it pops up again, the downfall will probably not hold that 1.20 because the game entirely changes. But I would definitely consider buying it. If it does either cross the MACD towards positive, or if it tests its current support and starts pushing forward, or if it hits the 1.2. It's definitely a good hold right now, and if it does dip around closer to the 1.20, and I hope it's not, I would really advise you to average down, but I see this jumping on forward in the future, especially closer to the earnings. That's my opinion. What do you think about this ticker? I'll mention it down in the comments below. Share, subscribe, and like, and have a wonderful day.